Welcome back to Life Be Lifing. Today's episode is called When Loyalty Starts Feeling Like Control. We're talking about something many couples struggle to admit out loud. When does protection become control? Most people don't wake up and say, I want to control my spouse. Usually it starts somewhere much deeper. It starts with fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned, fear of betrayal, fear of not being enough, fear of experiencing the same pain twice. And when fear goes unhealed, love can slowly stop feeling like connection and slowly starts feeling like surveillance. What began as concern becomes monitoring. What began as protection becomes pressure. What began as loyalty becomes control. Today, we're going to talk about why that happens and how couples can recognize the difference. One of the hardest truths to accept is that sometimes our greatest wounds become the thing that damages our relationships. Many people aren't trying to control their partner. They're trying to control the possibility of being hurt again. Think about it. A person who experienced betrayal may start checking phones. A person who has been lied to may start questioning everything. A person who has been abandoned may need constant reassurance. The behavior isn't always coming from distrust. Sometimes it's coming from unresolved pain. Pain says, make sure this never happens again. But the problem is, you cannot build trust through surveillance. You cannot create intimacy through investigation. You cannot create security by constantly searching for reasons to feel unsafe. Because eventually your partner stops feeling loved and starts feeling watched. And there is a difference, a huge difference. Love says, I trust you. Fear says, prove yourself every day. And over time, that pressure becomes exhausting, not just for the person being questioned, but for the person living in constant anxiety. But here's the truth. Trust cannot grow where someone feels constantly investigated. Eventually, your partner stops feeling loved and starts feeling watched. And watched is not the same as safe. Sometimes we say, I'm just protecting us. I just need to make sure. I'm only looking out for our relationship. But underneath protection is sometimes anxiety. Protection creates safety. Control creates pressure. Protection says, let's work through this together. Control says, I need to manage you so I can feel calm. And pressure always suffocates intimacy over time. Because love cannot breathe under constant suspicion. This is where relationships get real. Your spouse belongs with you. They do not belong to you. Healthy love creates freedom and trust. Ownership creates tension and resentment. When love turns into ownership, everything becomes a test. Every delay becomes suspicion. Every boundary becomes a threat. Every moment apart becomes a question. But real love is not control. Real love is choice, repeated daily, without force. For people who have been betrayed before, independence can feel unsafe. A spouse having friends, a spouse needing space, a spouse having a life outside the relationship. None of these are automatically betrayal, but unresolved pain can turn them into triggers. And then the mind starts reacting to the past instead of the present. That's when conversations shift from communication to accusations, from understanding to defense, from trust to fear. So ask yourself honestly, am I protecting my relationship or am I trying to protect my fear? Am I building trust or managing anxiety? Do my actions create emotional safety or emotional pressure? Because love should never feel like a courtroom. And your partner should never feel like they are constantly on trial. Boundaries are healthy. Accountability is healthy. Communication is healthy. But when fear starts leading the relationship, everything becomes distorted. Because fear always expects the worst, and love always works toward understanding. So remember this. Love should feel safe, not supervised. Heal honestly. Love intentionally. Protect your peace. And never let fear rewrite the way you love.